All right, I'm just going to get right to it on this story, okay? So I took a gap semester off of college, right? I've been doing social media for the last 5 years, and I thought to myself, you know what? I know that this is the kind of career that I want to put myself in the direction of. I know that social media there's something in social media that's out there for me, and if I take a gap semester off of school, I can figure it out, okay? Because I hated school. I hated school because I felt like I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that what I wanted to do was in this space of social media. And so just sitting in classes and doing everything except what I'm doing right now would literally piss me off so bad just because I knew that it was pointless toward the direction that I wanted to go, right? So I took this gap semester, okay? Now, when I took this gap semester, right, I just figured that if I took the time that I had, right, so when I was in college, I was still making content on social media. I'd gathered 900K on TikTok, 150K on Instagram, 350K on Snapchat. I had followers, right? And I figured that if I was to just put more of my time into making more videos, that I would just make it, right? I would just make more money. I would make enough money to support myself. The kind of path would sort of highlight, and then I would just follow it, or maybe in one of those video games where you kind of have the quest bar at the top of your screen. That didn't happen at all, okay? That did not happen one bit, okay? Instead, what happened was I sat in this room and I almost went insane trying to think of how can I make this system work. I'll just leave it at that. How can I make this system work? Where is that quest path, right? What's the next decision for me? Okay, and I'm sorry if I keep looking. The camera has a screen on it, and I tend to look at it because I'm getting used to this, but stay with me. Stay with me now, okay? So I sat in this room, and I was going insane, right? Because what I realized was, so since I started social media when I was so young, whenever I was starting this social media stuff, the easiest niche, if you're out there and you're considering starting social media, the easiest niche for you to get into is entertainment, okay? And let me tell you why. It doesn't take rocket science to make a video that's entertaining, okay? Because there are certain things that people will always enjoy watching, okay? For example, let's say that here's something that somebody would always like to see, right? A guy, I see these videos all the time, okay? People will go out, they'll go on the streets of college towns, and they'll be like, what do you think of short guys? They'll ask girls that, and girls will be like, oh, I won't date short guys. And then they'll whip out a scale, and they'll be like, okay, well, how much do you weigh? Bro, that video idea will never not get views. Never. Because all it's doing is it's highlighting controversy, right? Or it's it's getting people's reactions, which overall, people are always going to want to watch, right? But here's what people don't tell you about making entertaining content, okay? It is very difficult to make, I don't want to say a living. Yeah, I'll say that. I'll say it's very difficult to make a living off of entertainment content on social media unless it's surrounded around a niche or it's extremely scalable. Okay, so if you think about getting views, right? How can you get views? If that's the way that you monetize, right? Because with entertaining content, you can't really sell shit because people aren't going to listen to you because you don't have authority. For example, the guy who goes and gives the scale to the girl and tells her to stand on it. Maybe he could sell scales, but there's not much that you can sell per se, or you don't really gather much authority. You're not really teaching anything. You're not really the only thing that you could really sell are more jokes or merch, right? And so the reason that I bring this up is because I realized with my content, I could not make a lot of it. I couldn't make a lot of it because one, my content that I was making that was doing well on social media required me to have another person there to record, right? So that's number one. And the person that I had there to record was my buddy John. And he was still in school. So I was dependent on John's schedule to record videos as number one. Number two, they were skits, right? And skits require some form of creativity. So it's if let's say for example, right, a great director, if any of you guys know who Christopher Nolan is, right? Now, I'm not comparing myself to Christopher Nolan, but my TikTok skits, but Christopher Nolan cannot just make 20 movies a year. He can't do it, right? Because the creativity is not something that you can time or something that you can just copy and paste. Does that make sense? So it's like I would make videos even when I felt like the idea wasn't that great, just because I knew I needed to get videos out, and that just wasn't really like, it's not really the way to go about it, okay? So you think about it though, when I say like scalability, right? So like the kind of entertaining content that could exist and get a ton of views if you're monetizing off of views would be, once again, that guy with the scale, right? That guy with the scale can go into a college town and make 50 videos like at once, because it doesn't require creativity, right? It's like the same concept as like Jeopardy, right? Jeopardy can make 1,000,000 episodes and people will never think that it gets old, because all you need are trivia questions, right? Like this sort of idea stands, and it's not hard to replicate. So that's why like public interviews, you can do a ton, right? Like I'm trying to think, people who do like reaction videos, you know, there's always stuff to react to, like, or people who are in a certain niche, there's always something within a niche to talk about, right? So let's say that your niche is college, right? And I use that example because one of my buddies does college content. So college content, right? Or if you make content around a certain subject, right? There'll be certain events within that niche that you can kind of bring attention to, and you'll never really run out of material because you have your lane. You have like your shtick, and you know your audience to the extent that if you make a joke or if you make a sort of topic, like people just understand it, right? Like you have your audience, and you have your ideal customer profile, your ICP, like down to a science, right? So the problem that I realized was I was making skits that I couldn't make a lot of, and I was trying to go really broad. So I was trying to go the route of just getting views and just making content that's just hugely and widely accepted, or not accepted is the right word. Yeah, sure, accepted, like accepted by everyone, but I couldn't make a lot of it. And so here was where I hit a crossroads, right? I was like, okay, well, what do I do now, right? Because like I said before, when you're making content that is entertaining every day, dude, I mean, not like, don't get me wrong, like I'm blessed and I've had, you know, I'm super grateful for the life that I live and the opportunities I've had. Let me start off by saying that. But to go on and make entertaining videos every day, dude, sometimes you just have a shit day and you just like you don't want to make an entertaining video, right? And like honestly, I feel like it's better when creators and people in general are just more open about that and are just like, yo, today sucks, right? Because like just having a shit day and then being like, all right, time to go make a funny video. So me and John would just like sit in a car and just try to think of something when we don't have any ideas. Like that's just, you'll notice that none of the really great directors really do that. Or at least when they do, like, you know, Rotten Tomatoes will give them like a shit rate on their movie. So, okay, now that you guys kind of have, hopefully you have a kind of understanding of where my head was at on this issue. Hopefully I described that well, right? So now you know where you know the cards that are in my hand. So if we take all these options into account, right, and we simplify it, pretty much my options were, I need to either make myself more in a niche, right? Make higher quality content, right? Or make more videos. So I either have to figure out how to make more videos, figure out how to make videos that will go viral more consistently, or enter a niche. So as I was thinking about all this, right? And then also you have to throw into account, it's like, for me as somebody who had built up an audience, the last thing that I wanted to do was start from ground zero, right? Because it's like, well, damn, like, you know, I felt like I had all this like skin in the game, right? And I had all this like this built up consistent traffic that it would almost feel like silly to just give it all away. So I tried a couple different things. I tried to make like kind of entertaining content on YouTube because I figured like, okay, like maybe this is a way that I can kind of still have a form of, I don't even really know, honestly. I really don't know why I made entertaining videos on YouTube. I just thought it'd be fun. And I thought it'd be an opportunity to also like just inspire somebody, you know? Because I feel like that's, I mean, all I've wanted to do with content from the start is like, the reason that I started making content was because, dude, my parents instilled in me so heavily that you can do anything you put your mind to. They've told me that since I was an infant, right? And so with that, I don't know if I have just this delusional faith in myself or what, but that's like, all that's done for me is allow me to live a life that is exactly what I want to live. right? Like, never have I looked at an opportunity for myself and been like, that's too far out, right? Because like with social media, dude, nobody in high school thought that it was cool to make TikToks. Nobody thought that, right? But I kept trying at it because I knew it was something that I wanted and the payoff was there. So I had this proof of concept that I felt like I could do anything that I put my mind to. And I felt like if I made content for long enough, maybe at some point I could instill that into somebody else and just be like, hey man, I took a chance on doing this and it worked out, right? So that's where I kind of started to get the idea for what I want to do now, right? Which is why I'm making this video, is I want to make a video, or I apologize, I want to make a business where I make video content for other businesses. And I want to document the process of that on YouTube. Because like I said, I believe that you can do anything you put your mind to, right? And I've put it to the test in certain ways. Like, I wanted to get verified on Snapchat. I did it. I wanted to get 1 million followers on social media. I did it. And now it's like, okay, I might have made some mistakes along the way, but something that is undoubtedly true is I love making videos, and I have this sort of resume that I can use my old accounts for to say like, hey, I did this for myself. I could do this for your business. So it's like, I understand the model, right? Like I get it. Like you hear me talking about it. You know that I know like this game, like, and I've spent a lot of hours in this because I'm obsessed with it. And so it's like amongst this whole storm of confusion that I was involved in, I realized like, man, maybe business is the niche like that naturally I've been interested in this whole time. Like the whole reason that I really loved social media was because like it allowed me at such a young age to feel like I was some form of entrepreneur. Like it let me feel like I had a shot. Like guys, I've gotten like 5K for brand deals, and I have friends who would spit on that because like there's so much money in this. And I promise you, like as long as you believe in yourself and you have the desire to achieve something and you want it that damn bad, you can, right? And so I believe that. I full-heartedly do. And so now what I'm doing is I'm taking that and I'm putting it to the test almost publicly, right? Like I don't know how many people are going to see these videos, but like I'm excited and I really want to make this something because I can't imagine that there's not somebody else out there who sits in college classes and hates it, right? But they just don't necessarily know if it's the right time to take a chance and go out and try and do something for themselves. And I sat in that shoe, I sat in that chair, I sat in these classes learning about newspaper ads in my advertising classes when I had a whole like media thing right in front of me that I knew I wanted to do. And so hopefully there's someone out there who sees these videos and gets fired up. I'm fired up. So that's my story, that's my plan, that's what I plan on documenting on this channel going forward. Right? I am going to build this damn business in 2025. And if I don't, I'm not breathing. In addition to that, I have other goals that I feel like are quite important and quite relatable as well. Like, not only do I want to build a business, I want to get in the best shape of my life. I want to become way more knowledgeable about stuff that I'm interested in, right? And so what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? It looks like reading every day, right? Like trying to get a chapter done. Man, if I showed you guys how many damn self-improvement books I have over here, like it's insane. And like reading them has just been so valuable to me. And I feel like I've been learning so much. I'm in this phase of my life where I really want to hustle and I really want to try and go for the stuff that I've wanted since I was that 15-year-old kid who wanted to make a career out of social media. And so it's like, I got a shot at that now. And I dropped out of college to chase that chance. I'm taking every bet and putting it on myself right now because I just have this delusional faith that I can make it happen. And so hopefully somebody who's looking back and seeing this video, I know that this video is not excellent, but I know that in retrospect, it'll be something that's worth looking at because I know that it'll show the story where it began and hopefully and we will be at somewhere where this becomes noteworthy. So I'm excited, okay? And anybody who's watched the video and watched it for this long, I cannot express how grateful I am for that, okay? So if you want to follow me, I made new TikTok and Instagram accounts. My name is Maceism, so it's Maceism, right? And if you want to follow those accounts, I can't keep posting this sort of content on my regular account, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as a case study when I'm cold approaching these businesses, right? So I feel like if I show them the video and if I'm showing them my account for proof of concept, be like, hey, like I've done this before, I know what I'm doing. And then I show them my account and it's like, all right, guys, today I'm going to be cold approaching businesses. I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like that's like, imagine there's a girl that you're talking to and you hand her your phone to like give her your Instagram and she looks at your story and it's like you in a video like, all right, guys, we're going to cold approach girls today. A little nervous, but hopefully we get the number. It just takes the magic out of it, okay? But all right, 2025 is our year. All right.